for AEW Dynamite. Dynamite. It's the first one we've done for Dynamite as well, which is pretty
Dynamite.
cool. But
I'm just setting a tweet out now.
unfortunately, cool.
What?
I am just checking that we actually are live. Oh, there we are. We actually are.
There we go.
Happy days. But unfortunately, Gareth isn't here. Technically, he's here in voice,
No.
but not in facial. Take that as you will. Nah, but I had a bit of a camera issue and all that sort of stuff. So basically. Anyway, how are you, Gareth?
I'm okay. Yeah, just looking forward to AEW. Looking forward to the tournament. That's the big thing that's happening at the moment, isn't it? I don't know if you saw the promo from Cody that they put out on YouTube.
Oh, I haven't.
Well,
I've been in work.
it was very good. It kind of sold the tournament, and also sold that. Well, some of us have more important things to do. But yeah, sold the tournament and sold me on the idea that Cody should win. No other option is acceptable. I don't care. I'm right. You're wrong. Sorry, boys.
Okay, why is that? That's new.
I just feel like, when this is such a stupid thing, but when you look back, on the first champion and stuff, as much as Lance Archer's great and this title could be good for him, is it the kind of thing where you want that to be a first champion? Someone like Darby Allin maybe would be a better shout from that point of view, at least because he's got the future ahead of him and he could be a star in AEW. But I just think it's got to be Cody. I think he would set the tone well for it. He could do that thing where he basically gets other people over, and then eventually when he does drop it to someone, I feel like the title will just be bigger for the fact that he's had it. You know what I mean? And it'll just feel more important. It's not a world title, so it doesn't have to have that. I'm not saying it has to be that, but I just feel that would be my number one.
Oh, okay. No, that's really interesting.
Changed my mind.
You changed your mind. How dare you do that, mate? How dare you do that?
Yeah.
I kind of get it. I would say I agree. I understand your logic.
Wrong,
I
mate.
agree.
I'm right. You're wrong. Yeah.
But
I do see the arguments for particularly Darby and Archer as well. But it's mainly the first time champion thing. I want someone to set the tone. And Cody's always going to have something big to do, and I feel like this might be his next big thing. But who knows? Archer could beat him in the final, and then they could feud over it or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I don't know. I get it. I guess it's like adding legitimacy off the bat. It's like no one really pays attention in history as to really who you beat. It's more this person won it on this occasion, unless that person's a really big deal. That it means something to bring it up. But I don't know. It is a strange. I don't know. It's kind of strange. I think it's a sound argument. It really is a sound argument, but I would prefer to see mid-card talent, because that is its place. Let's not that's not to say that it's all well and bad and everything.
I just think first champion be someone a bit more, and like Cody will effectively be an upper mid-carder because he's not going to be holding the world title. I don't think it might be something that they use for storyline. Maybe he will hold it one day, but for at least for the time being, it seems like he genuinely doesn't want to hold it. He would feel bad about holding it, blah 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 blah. So I feel like this is will be his place, even though he'll always have or pretty much always have something big going on. Like in terms of, he doesn't need a title; he can have a feud, but he's gonna, naturally he's gonna have to win titles here and there. Otherwise, he'll just be wrestling pretty much for no reason. It will get boring just doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like mid card scene, even though he's so established, we don't think of him that way.
No, I understand that. But I don't know. I just this.
You're wrong, mate. I'm right.
I don't
you're wrong.
know. It's a really strange
No,
one because I do
I
agree.
get the hesitation. Yeah,
Because I do agree, but
and I
then
get the hesitation towards it as well.
I just don't think I want to see mid-card talent lose. Because I mean, for example, in the case of Darby Allin, like, there's as much as he absolutely excels in losing, depending on where you book him, but for the most part, he can do really well in losing. He does need a big win. He does need something that firmly establishes his place within that company as in like a really top star in that regard. Because yes, a lot of people love him and everything, but has he achieved a whole lot? At least in like kayfabe, let's talk of it that way. Like, yes, he's won the hearts of many, but has and I don't know. I just think you do need to. I don't know how to word it really. It'd just be nice for them to knuckle down on some of their talent and making them more established, have a certain place within the card, and especially in the case of Darby Allin having a strong win, or in the case of Archer resuming dominance. Because say if you have him lose early on, depending on the way you have him lose, because by your standards,
I think a loss to Cody isn't a bad thing, but it would be it would be his fourth match, and he would have lost. It's not ideal, but at the same time, that could turn him into even more of a monster, and then he could go on a destruction path, and then end up beating Cody down the road. There's so many options that you could go with, but yeah,
there are a lot of options. You are right, but no, it's just. I don't like the idea of Archer losing so soon into it, because he's only just in ring debuted for the company, and I think protecting your talents from the get go is quite an important thing, because you can easily lose interest in someone, because this is the groundwork. You're supposed to build. If you had Darby Allin just lose immediately, I mean. we did to a certain extent. It was a strong showing.
His first match was a draw with Cody, and the only matches he's really lost have been big matches, like against Jericho, and stuff like that. So, like against most people,
he lost against Moxley as well, didn't he?
Him, he's generally won. So, yeah, exactly. But like the top guys, he's losing to, but he's very much established as one of the upper mid carders as well. Based on who he's beaten, the rest of the mid card pretty much, and who he's lost to, the main eventers effectively.
Yeah,
I do really want to see Archer versus Darby Allin. That's one match because of Darby Allin's selling, and because of how Archer destroyed what's his face last week. What's his name?
Who's this?
The little one.
Oh, Marco Stunt.
Whatever his name is, Yeah, the way he destroyed him last week. Obviously, Darby Allin's a little bit bigger, but he's not much bigger. And then combine that with Darby Allin's selling, I just think it would be a really, really interesting match. That's kind of like, I'd rather see that match than Cody versus Archer, even though the story's there for Cody and Archer. But yeah, I think any of those three I'll be happy with. But Cody's the one I'm personally leaning towards.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've also got Gargano versus Ciampa tonight on NXT.
Yeah, I saw Triple H, his Instagram post about that. It's going to be a great match, but I just think the stakes in it aren't all that. I'd much rather find out, because I just love this concept of the tournament. I like these little things, and I mean, AEW have already done 2 minor sort of tournaments. Yeah, they start with the tag team one, and now they're doing it with this as well. So, the TNT Championship. So I think that's really good going, because even though, like, yes, Gargano and Ciampa is obviously a stronger match, in at least history will tell you that. It doesn't. I don't particularly care about it, because I am sort of burnt out on the idea of that match. But I am willing to see more, just given the fact that there's no stake. Given the fact that there's no stakes involved, I'm just perfectly happy to just leave it by, not really care about who wins, and then check it out tomorrow, and just enjoy the match rather than care about who wins. It's like seeing a couple of football matches, and just the teams that you care to see win the most, you're going to choose that over perhaps the bigger game, if you get me. So I at least that's me. I know a lot of people,
like, you'd always watch the team you support over, like, Man United versus
yeah, exactly. So, you might have Barcelona versus Real Madrid in the bloody Champions League or something. But personally, as someone who likes Dortmund, I would much rather see them versus Atletico, despite there being a bigger match on the horizon, that's just me,
No, I completely agree. Like, I think as well, like, the fact that if it was, like, say it was, this would never happen, but say it was a takeover versus a normal episode of Dynamite, even though there are some big stakes on the Dynamite, I'd rather be watching the takeover, just because it then, at least the stakes for on that night, even if it's a match like this, which isn't for a title, and realistically the winner, I don't mind who wins, basically, because I like both, and both could do with it, and there'll be interesting things coming out for whatever result.
Yeah.
So even though it's not super interesting from that point of view, I would still rather watch it if it was a takeover with a crowd compared to this, because it would just feel bigger, and therefore I'd feel like, okay, even though I'm not technically as invested, I'd always pick that. That would never happen, because if anything, it'd be like an AEW pay-per-view versus a takeover. So
yeah.
And then in that case, I probably would pick the AEW pay-per-view, because I'm just more invested in the company at the moment, which wasn't the case. I said this on the podcast, wasn't the case a few months ago. A few months ago, I probably would have gone the other way, but AEW have won me over. But, probably just a shill, aren't I?
Yeah, you're just a fucking mark, mate. That's all you are, mate. Sorry, mate. I think you should sort yourself out, because you're just a vanilla midget, and all you care about is vanilla midget. I mean, Marco Stunt, he's a vanilla midget. He's as midget as it gets, mate. Oh, original joke. Go on.
I was just going to say 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it's 10 minutes now, man. But, like, it's such... I don't know, because NXT have jumped on the tournament bandwagon now. They ripped them off. In how... I think there's a tournament for the Cruiserweight Championship now. Have you heard?
Yeah, for the interim.
Interim, yeah.
The interim Cruiserweight Championship.
Which obviously,
so we'll
like,
see how that goes.
It opens the idea of, the two, you have obviously Jordan Devlin and then the interim champion, and then there's like something to be had feud-wise there. So that's always very interesting. So, I thought that was a good decision on there, and at least...
Who would you like to see win that, and then have a match with Jordan Devlin from, like, the US brand, obviously?
The contenders haven't been announced, have they? Have they?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Not that I'm aware of.
I imagine
either.
they'll get announced tonight.
Yeah, maybe. We'll be old in like 10 minutes now when they do it. This be outdated. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Leo Rush sort of jumps in my mind. But I don't. Story-wise,
I'll throw a name at you.
Oh God, where is it?
Kushida.
I mean, that is... It's strong. is a strong one. I'll give you that. He's been featured on 205 Live recently.
Yeah. It's
Um,
mainly just because he's not doing anything, particularly, at the moment. He's having matches, but so this would give him a little bit of focus. It would be an incredible match between them, and then you can also kind of tell the story that it's like one of the best cruiserweights from, if not the best from Japan. That's arguable, but um, NXT, they'll be like, oh, it's the best cruiserweight from Europe versus the best cruiserweight from Japan. They probably go down that kind of a route or something like that,
yeah,
which would be an interesting kind of concept. And then you also have the story of interim champion versus real champion, I guess, which is interesting enough. I would enjoy that match mainly just because two different styles, but I feel like they just nail it because they're so good, both of them.
yeah. Um, I don't know why I'm hesitating really, because I love both guys. At the end of the day,
You want to see Kushida doing bigger things, that's why you're hesitating.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Yeah, I guess.
Universal champion. He should have beaten Braun. He should have beaten Goldberg. Tapped him out.
Last man standing. He should have been the last man standing. Triple threat. Edge, Randy Orton, Kushida. He's just randomly just dropped in for no apparent reason. He's like, I love my family.
Does a concerto to both of them.
Oh, he'd be an absolute
I love
legend.
Kushida so much.
Oh yeah, he is. He's such a likable. He's as babyface gets. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
If you just know the guy just a little bit and you just watch him do his thing, you can't not love the guy and what he does.
Yeah.
You instantly care as to what he is doing, where he's involved. It's just, yeah, it would be genuinely amazing. I've downplayed it only because it's just like hesitation, just in case there's anyone else I can think of, who's better.
Yeah.
Drew Gulak, he's not really he's not in the cruiserweight division anymore.
Nah, he's on SmackDown now.
They're not going to feature him.
One I would like to see, which we haven't really seen. We've seen him do tag team stuff on NXT, but haven't really seen him do a whole lot of cruiserweight matches. Is Only Lorcan, who obviously I'm a big fan of.
Yeah,
That would
I
be
was
an
going to
interesting
say. Cool.
match.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that would be an interesting match, basically.
No, that'd be one hell of an interesting match. I don't know if that would sell for a lot of people. The issue of Only Lorcan is just, it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of support behind him. Like, he's got one hell of a Twitter game on him, but at the end of the day, this might be a good way in getting into that position.
It's because he has the support online, he gets the engagement online, he gets a good reaction every time. Like, the only reason that tag team is over is because of him. No offense, Danny Burch, but he's kind of the charisma there is from Only Lorcan and stuff. He's the one who gets the pops from the hot tags and stuff. So it's like the only reason nobody's really thinking of him in that next level kind of way is because they're not treating him as someone who will properly go for he'll be the odd contender for Cruiserweight Championship, but he probably won't be winning it and kind of thing. It's just like, I don't know, I just want to see him do anything.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Interesting. Like, even if it is just the Cruiserweight Championship, if we're going to have the Cruiserweight Championship being like a mid-card, even subdivision is what it is really. It's not a mid-card, it's like a separate division in itself. But if we're going to have that, then I want to see guys like Only Lorcan and people like that being utilized within it. So, yeah. And it looks like people like Angel Garza and a couple of the other people have kind of moved into different avenues now. So there's a couple of spots opening up within that division. It only really seems like Leo Rush and Kushida are real contenders at the moment. Maybe I'm wrong. I can't remember anyone else though who hasn't then moved into something else.
No, it'd be hard to. It'd be hard to disagree with you there. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. There's going to be someone now who's just so clear as day as a contender there, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're just forgetting someone and being stupid. But.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's out the realms of possibility that, but oh my god, I've just seen a comment here. Vampiro would have been the coolest Exalted one. Oh,
Oh dear.
and someone is
He would have been.
pretending. Someone's pretending to be Dave Meltzer as well. Ah, some people. Jesus
Oh, the
Christ.
amount of like people who the amount of people who successfully mug off Dave Meltzer really makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
Like I've tried it a couple of times in his like replies, just like he'll say something like that is just like kind of yeah, that's just right, but for the sake of it. Hoping to get like I'm basically hoping to bait people, hoping to get a response from Dave being like basically owning me, and then other people will be like, "You're an idiot," blah, blah, blah. And then I can just laugh to myself because I've worked them all. But Dave he never falls for it with me anyway.
Because you're so full
So
of shit. You're so full of useless shit.
I'm so full of shit that he's
You
just
are.
like I can't even be bothered.
You can't even bother. Maybe you're just not triggering him enough. Maybe you need to really like just not. I wouldn't say lower yourself. That's an awful thing to
I'm
say.
going
But
too far. I feel.
no, I think you need to go further. I think you need to like really say some absurd stuff. That's just going to be our goal at this point, just to trigger Dave Meltzer, just for the sake of triggering him.
Oh, it's funny.
I know.
I have managed to like get a couple of responses off people who follow him, and they're like, "You're an idiot," blah 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 blah. But not of him, and so I don't consider it a success. It's too easy to trigger wrestling fans, isn't it? So.
I mean, I wouldn't. Well,
Oh, I've
yeah.
just seen a GIF of MJF. Sorry,
You seen a GIF of MJF?
I've just seen a GIF of MJF messing around with the fans on Twitter, and it's making me miss the fans and MJF. He hasn't been on TV for a while, which is a shame. We've got a minute and a
Yeah.
half to go,
He hasn't, does he?
ish.
He hasn't. No, we haven't seen him
I
at all, have
want
we?
no, which I'm assuming is to do with the he's unable to travel or doesn't want to or whatever. But I wonder if there would have been, or if he was in the thoughts to be in and around the names for the TNT Championship.
Hmm.
It kind of seemed like they were pushing him more to the world title for a longer feud with Moxley, which I think would be interesting, and could be a good kind of stepping stone for Moxley. If, I don't think it's quite time for MJF to win the world title yet, but challenging and be interesting in that role. He's over enough, so why not?
Why not, mate? Why not? Apparently, people are jacking off to Wardlow.
Destiny. Famous
There we
words.
are. Let's turn this down.
Was he on Dark? I didn't. Has yours
Yeah, he
started?
was. He was on Dark.
Oh,
Oh, I got Jake
cool.
this
I
time.
might check that out then. Because
Oh, go on.
why am I on the Spanish one? I don't want the Spanish one. I'm on the Spanish
Why are you
one.
on the Spanish one?
Come on.
You stand in the ring and look at Lance Archer. Think you've got
I would jump out of an airplane without a parachute.
See all three things.
He's an absolute.
You
He's
wind up
just.
in the same position.
I'm so glad he's in good health and he's like back into this industry and he seems to be
Step in the ring with
really
Lance Archer,
investing into the actual industry itself. Obviously, that being
playing the game
Archer.
you wouldn't wish it.
I don't know if you heard about
See what happened
Goldberg
to Marco, and I
placing
know what
himself
happened to
above
Marco.
and
Nobody
his
else wanted it.
stature above the current
Saw that as an
superstars.
opportunity to prove to
You know,
everybody
just I know obviously a ring
Yeah.
competitor compared to a guy managing, but
you're a man.
Yeah.
regardless,
Even so, it's like old guys.
Better to be
Go on.
thoughtful than
It's just old guys
to take action.
knowing where their place is versus others kind of continuously. And the thing with Goldberg is he's always kind of.
Please don't let this one slip away from you. I
The
got
thing is, when he was in WCW, he kind of had that done to him by like Hogan and stuff. That he was taking his opportunities, took all his hype and stuff like that away from him. So stuff like that. But then, like every time he's come back, it's always kind of been
banana peel slip.
the next step upon the another, and it's just like I just don't want to ever see him wrestle
Yeah.
again.
No, I don't care for him.
Go to your heel manner.
Yeah, I'm gonna crack open a cold one.
Oh my god.
I've got
Oh.
a Birra Moretti.
Another strong promo from absolutely. Oh, Sammy Guevara won absolutely. Oh, they're not following the 2 meter rule. I'll tell you that. But I don't know if
No,
that's the
but
rule over there.
they've got more people there at ringside this time.
Yeah, but oh, we got Lance Archer.
No, we don't.
No, who is
This
that?
is this is Stephen Larson.
Right, you just made me think I'm an idiot there. Oh, you dick. I
Here.
loved this match. I don't know.
It was so good.
I don't get people being triggered by it. Marco looked like he had a laugh. Oh my god. He's just
Marco looked like he was having a great time.
he's
Oh, he's just killed someone.
did you just kill his competitor before?
Well, is this not his match with Colt Cabana then? This isn't the.
Unless there's just a random competitive just oh no, this is a match. Obviously we've got Chris Jericho on commentary as well. I've turned that down considerably, so I'm not going to be listening to it much. But I assume Chris being Chris is just going to be
Was
fun.
that James Ellsworth?
No,
Is James Ellsworth in the crowd?
No,
I don't think it is.
No. That can't be
No,
the
it's
case.
not. No, I just saw like a glimpse to someone with like a blonde top knot, but he's also got like a massive orange beard.
Ah,
So,
right.
and he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
look
yeah.
like him.
No, that's not him.
Yeah. I got excited. I'd love to see Lance Archer kill James Ellsworth.
Oh, I haven't seen that before.
Oh bloody hell!
Is this live? I can't really tell if it's live.
No, I think they've taped. I saw something saying they've taped like a good few weeks, including all of the tournament. So that's all done.
Right. Oh.
So yeah, I think this is and the next few weeks are taped.
Alright then. Well, at least it means Fight is going to play nicely with us, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah. And also it means that like we're guaranteed a few weeks of AEW.
Well, guaranteed the
Like because there was the thing that
tournaments,
like the police tried to come in and shut them down or something. Yeah. So it's good to know we've at least got a few more weeks. If they have to take a break, then they have to. But hopefully everything's okay and they don't.
I'm just looking forward to when, the pandemic that we're currently in, that kind of blows over in due time, however long it takes, and then they get blood and guts running. I reckon that's just going to be ridiculous with the talent that they got.
I just can't wait for this pandemic to be over.
Yeah, in general, just bugger off.
Basically.
Now seems really decent. Dr. Britt Baker against Hikaru Shida. I gather this is #1 contendership. I don't know, or it just seems like a feudie thing.
I don't think it's #1 contenders, but like they'll both be near the top.
Yeah, that kind of. Yeah.
Tagging with Nakazawa.
Yeah. Matt Hardy, we hear from Damascus. For God's sake. I hope Sean Spears has a good showing. The one thing I am kind of a bit sad about is the idea of him losing twice to Cody.
I don't think it will harm him if it's done right, basically, which I'm hoping they do.
Sammy Guevara is one of my favourites at the moment. Like, absolutely,
he's the best.
He's at first honestly, for months of AEW, I liked him, but I never loved him. But
Yeah.
oh,
No, he's really got himself over with me.
yes, he's just an absolute legend. And of course, the same for Britt Baker in a way. Like, remember
Yeah.
beginning with her, it was a bit sketchy. Not particularly. This is something I love with AEW, man. They're just not too afraid
Yeah.
to just. If something isn't working, they're aware of it, and they're not afraid to flick the switch. And ultimately, at least history has
Yeah.
shown, it's worked out for the better.
Yeah. Generally speaking, at least. I can't think of one where it hasn't.
Yeah.
They just do things. It's like they show how simple it is to get it at least to a decent standard. Obviously, AEW's not perfect with everything. There's always going to be little things, but my complaints are few and far between. You know,
Yeah, it's like, but like
Hikaru Dickaru is the best wrestler in the world.
Hikaru Dickaru. I wouldn't say that.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, mate. Great theme song.
I'm sorry, but it does. I know I struggle to get my point across, but it does sound like video game music to me. It sounds like a Nintendo
It's brilliant.
platformer. Oh,
It's
God.
great.
It's great. Come on in. And I love AEW's atmosphere. I think they've nailed it right on the head. With it's very simple. What they've got. It's just people outside in the barricade and whatnot, just watching it.
Yeah.
But it does add like a breath of fresh air, just atmosphere-wise.
Yeah.
We've obviously watched
Yeah.
WrestleMania, and I don't. To be honest, looking back on WrestleMania, I actually don't really think of the lack of crowd all that much. It doesn't like. I don't look back at the pay-per-view thinking it was just so bad because it had no crowd. It was just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious to us all that it was lacking a little something, but in AEW they've at least substituted with something that, although it's not the same, it's still something.
It still gives you that like perception of it, you know. Yeah. I feel like again we said this before on the podcast, but a lot of the matches did do a good job of wrestlers kind of creating an atmosphere themselves, but it still wasn't quite like it still didn't feel like a WrestleMania just because there wasn't the big crowd. A lot of the little things kind of make WrestleMania, even though you had all the matches. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Britt Baker, she's dirty ill. She's running away.
So if she's done that in the dentist field, you know she's going to do the same thing in AEW, and she already is showing this. Very well said, Chris Jericho.
Come on.
I'm kind of sad not to listen
What's this?
to like all of Chris Jericho's commentary because he's really good on commentary, but I'm kind of sad to not be able to listen to like everything that Chris Jericho's saying.
Yeah.
Because he's really good on commentary, but yeah, it
Oh
is
no,
what it is.
I've got a glimpse of him. I can hear him a little bit. But you can,
Yeah.
to be honest,
I can
like,
hear him, and I'm getting
all due respect to him, but it's like you kind of know what he's going to be saying. For the most part.
I just enjoy it.
Oh yeah. That doesn't stop the enjoyment from it though. Oh, they ripped each other's hair.
I saw one idiot walking around. I don't even know his name. I'll point him out when I'm sure he'll be on the show.
When Chris just gives up, you know, like he calls it a day in his in ring. He can't leave this industry. He needs to commentate. He needs to manage.
Yeah. Definitely.
He's just too talented. Oh look, it's Gun the Club. Oh no, they got rid of the. It looks really strange. They decided to have the for the Gun Club in the center.
In the mid. Yeah.
So it looks like Gun the Club. Although we all know it's the Gun Club, it just looks
Gun the Club.
Gun the Club. There's always a club, isn't it? Is there ever anything else?
The Painmaker Posse. They're a posse, not a club.
Yeah, that's
or a
great.
circle. Or a circle, you know.
Yeah, you know, we're about a square, mate. Sorry, mate.
That's what happens when they get rid of Sammy Guevara. They'll become the inner square.
In a square. Oh.
Like when the mean girl yells at you and deep down inside you really have a crush on her? Well, I've been working with Britt and I don't was she really
Britt Baker's come leaps and bones. I remember the first match seeing her.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it was Double or Nothing. Her first proper showcase. So it might be an All-In. I can't confirm that for sure.
No, I think it was Double or Nothing. I think it was like a fatal 4-way, wasn't it? As she won.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, no, she's come a long way. I think she suits the heel better. You know, I think she just suits that kind of charisma better, doesn't she? That character.
Yeah. That's it.
Especially because she does get that kind of doubt and hate on the internet. So when she comes out and she's like, "You're all idiots and I'm incredible," there is that sense of reality to what she's doing as well, because she is actually trying to prove herself. And being like, "I like you all."
Yeah, exactly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they purposely molded her character in that way as well. I'm not gonna, say 100% it's, but like, it is kind of funny. Like, as you said, her character does just absolutely triggers that exact fan that she's, all those particular fans that she's getting criticizing her. So, as you've said,
yeah,
it's pretty much catered to that. It's like,
definitely.
I'm not gonna listen to you. I know I'm right, and I love you guys. I'm just, it's like, no, listen to me. You're shit.
Yeah.
That's all the rest of the fans are just going on. It's just like, it's funny because like you could argue like, although wrestling fans know that they may not know they're being worked in that way.
Yeah. We're in a break. Dynamite.
Yes. But yeah.
Dynamite. Right. Just mute that because I hate the song.
Oh, you hate the song. Either way, just very regular.
Nope.
Not, I wouldn't say particularly epically strong. We saw a squash match and a fairly decent beginning to a women's match, but other than that, that's all we've got. Obviously, we're majorly looking forward to the tournament because obvious reasons.
Yeah. It says there's two watching, one of which will be me, the other of which I'm assuming is another person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are there, why don't you throw us a question in the chat, or some kind of thoughts? What are your thoughts? If you are there, or maybe someone. No, it's 3 now, so there's 2 people watching because I'm also here. Throw us your thoughts in the chat.
Nah, it's fine.
Oh no, they left. The other person. So there's just one person.
Fine.
Anyway, yeah. If you are there, throw us a chat, and then we can respond to it during the break.
Nah, but like
Gives us something to do.
we have plenty to do. We're watching Dynamite. This like
No, but during the break.
no during the break, but I don't like breaks very often. It's not very often that we live stream this.
Not really used to them.
So, but at the end of the day, right? Like, after Hager now, which I hope isn't a long program. Who would you like to see?
I think no, the match is next week, isn't it? So it won't be long.
Well,
I
you
think
never
that'll
know.
be it
They,
after
they,
that.
you know, they're
For
perfectly
those two.
capable of prolonging these things, you know, and they always do it really well. But they are perfectly capable of doing that. So it's just out of curiosity, just given it's not the most obvious thing in the world. Who would come after Hager? I don't think there's anyone clear for in that position.
Mm.
At least from the surface. I mean, of course, you've got like the dominance of Archer and everything, but I mean, it seems considering he's in this mid title, they're not going to
Yeah.
have a TNT Championship tournament. I find it. I hope they don't make the WWE move where he can't qualify for the mid card title and then all of a sudden he's in a program for the world title all of a sudden. I mean, story can absolutely work your way into it, but the story hasn't been made yet. But then again, they can make the story.
Yeah.
Right, we're back.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah. One thing I would like to see in terms of the world title is obviously after Hager is that MGF feud I mentioned before Dynamite kicked off earlier when we were talking.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. As I said, it will kind of establish MJF in that top tier, but he won't win, and it'll be a nice moment when he loses, obviously for fans, but ultimately it will exist to get MJF over on that next level, even if he doesn't win. So I think that will work for both guys. Like it will really obviously work for Moxley because MJF is like the perfect heel to go up against because everyone's going to be backing you.
Yeah.
And then again, it's only going to help MJF. So I think that's a good one. Again, for the time being, I don't know when the next pay per view will be. So who will be the next pay per view defense? That could be MJF. It could be someone else in the future. I would like to see Lance Archer in that role if he doesn't win the TNT Championship, but like you said, justify it in the story, which I mean they literally would because you've got the rankings and everything. So you'd have to have a few wins and go on a tear afterwards, and maybe that loss in the final to say Cody could then spur on that his dominant streak. You could sell the fact that he's angry, so he just goes out there and literally destroys everyone he has a match with.
Yeah.
So those are some names. Even further down the line, you can get into the realm of once the Hangman Omega is hopefully a big opponent for Moxley. I don't know where you have that, whether that's All Out a year on from when it should have happened. I don't know whether we'll have crowds by then. I want them to save that match for when there's a crowd because it's so big.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got options. They've got lots. You could name plenty of other people as well. Pac is one I'd really like to see as well. But they've obviously just started that triangle thing.
Yeah.
The Death Triangle. That's it.
The triangle thing. No, I think now you brought it up, and I just remember as well. Didn't MJF have that promo where he laid out his intentions to
He
become a
effectively
world
said
champion?
he was coming after it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He effectively said, "I'm coming for the world championship," without actually saying it. So yeah, I think that is something they're moving towards, and it makes complete sense. He's just had I think he's unbeaten. He has lost a match, but he wasn't pinned because it was a fatal 4-way. But yeah, I think as far as I'm aware, he is unbeaten. He's beating Cody on a big stage. Like in kayfabe, he should be the next challenger.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. We're having the back and forth between Shida and Britt Baker right now.
I swear everyone in the women's division has their best match with Shida.
Even Shida does. Oh,
Yeah.
not
Oh,
Britt
bloody
Baker's
hell.
nose. Not Britt Baker's nose, it would seem. Oh, beautiful. Oh, Falcon Arrow. Is that Michelle?
driver 2020. Okay, they're checking to see if Britt is okay.
Blood's everywhere.
Oh, look at this. Lock it in, lock it in, lock it in. Oh, no.
Oh, that was a tight pin there.
All over the mat.
Oh, she's gone for a submission. Shida.
Get your receipt. She might have a broken nose here, Tony. Wow, look at her. That's bleeding like a faucet. Look at this. What has she got there? Oh, she put. Oh, I love it. She put on a glove.
She's prone on a glove. Oh,
Wow. Oh my
I
oh.
got a few close calls here.
possibly broken nose. Oh my God, what a match. That proboscis is just bleeding all
That
over
nose
the
is
place.
proper going.
Yeah, I don't think that was a worked thing.
No, but it certainly helped. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. Oh,
Oh wow. Look at this, a variation of the crossroads there.
She didn't sell that at all.
no, she didn't sell that at all. I love Shida, but my god, she just got straight up. She was like, oh, where am I?
Insane. Look at her. She went from ace free.
It's a good thing that wasn't like Britt's finisher or anything, because she just no sold that and then had to pin her afterwards. Yeah, that is not a worked thing. She's hurt her nose there.
Oh, yeah.
But she's playing it off really well.
Oh, no, she's doing exceptionally well.
That is a broken.
Oh, don't
mean,
do that.
It certainly would have worked better if Shida was the one bleeding. Would have sold the idea of
Yeah.
Britt more, but, like, either way, it's great. Oh,
Britt's not giving up either.
I have no idea what's going to happen here. It's been quite an interesting closing sequence here. Presumably, this is the closing sequence anyway.
yeah, this has been a great match. I'll give them that.
Yeah, definitely Britt Baker's my favourite match from Britt Baker.
Oh my God, I have no idea who's going to win this.
And to be fair, she's not being carried in this match either. She's doing a lot of it herself.
Oh, yeah, no, she's holding her own, definitely. Especially on the
It's not like this is
character-
only her best match.
Especially on the
Yeah,
character
yeah,
front.
exactly. It's not like this is only her best match because it's Shida. She's
Yeah.
also kind of raising her game as well.
Bowing down or taking any type of a break at all. That bloody nose. I tell you what, you start swallowing your own blood. That cuts down your cardio as well.
Oh, what are they thinking about?
Well, I'll tell you why. When you see your own blood, it better fire.
I'm gonna headbutt you. I'm gonna headbutt you.
She's fighting for her life here.
I am jealous of Britt Baker 'cause she gets to go home to Adam Cole every night.
Yeah, I'd be jealous of that.
Wow. This could be
Oh my god. That was a rough one.
her back at the last minute. I mean,
Yeah.
that could have caused some serious spinal problems there.
I'm not trying to be the whole WWE shit, but this is better than most women's WWE Championship matches. You know,
Oh,
that's got to be it.
Did you see Shida smartly
There we go.
legs away from the ropes as well?
when she made Britt bleed, she... Come on, mate.
Oh, she's spitting that out.
Look at the blood just still pouring.
Oh yeah, that definitely wasn't worked.
She might be in a little bit
Nah, fair play to her, though.
as Shida
Yeah, no.
goes to winning 8 of her last 9 matches. How about that? I mean, that's pretty much winning.
The music is so good. Oh, I love it.
Honestly, I just feel like I'm taking on a monkey in a bloody Game Boy or something. Right.
Your winner on a winning streak here.
Yes, Shida.
You're taking on a monkey on the Game Boy.
That it
Oh,
does. It feels that
It
way.
does. I miss my Game Boy.
I do miss my Game Boy too. Earlier today.
What's it been like?
It's been-
6-7 years?
Oh man, have you watched the documentary? The Can
No,
You
I've
Make
got
It
it on my
documentary?
watch list though. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man,
I saw you tweet it. Is it good?
it
I'm assuming it is.
it it wasn't anything mega special by any means, but
Yeah.
it was really interesting to get Kenny's take on what he wants to achieve in wrestling from himself.
Yeah.
Just hear that from himself.
He's one of the most like fascinating wrestlers to me, so I am looking forward to watching it for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
I love him.
Hey guys.
We heard everything you said.
It's not
You should be ashamed.
It's not what you think.
You guys think you're better best friends than us? You think
You want to take our name? You want to take our name?
No,
Our livelihood. We have
You
family.
guys, we're better best friends.
Put it on the line. Put it on the line.
You want it? It's on the line. It's on the line now. See you out there. The name is ours.
The name best friends is on the line. Incredible. Michael Nakazawa's getting pinned then, isn't he?
Stakes, absolute stakes.
But at least, you know, they're putting something on it. He's gone back into the loo again. I love this.
It's
100%.
Next, the countdown to the no-holds-barred empty arena AEW World Championship match is on. As we take a special look at Jake Hager.
Oh, Moxley.
John Moxley.
Moxley, like,
Now in our main event, it's the
he should be so cringy the way he carries himself, but he somehow pulls it off. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know who does it, especially those bloody glasses.
Yeah, but somehow just because it's Moxley, you let it go. Is that another break? It is.
That's another
Right.
break.
Well, that was an interesting one. Michael Nakazawa's getting pinned. Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker had a good match.
They had a great match, I thought.
Yeah, really good. And
Like-
then also, oh, have you seen the chat on, you know, on Fight? There's a chat. It's just like,
I'm gonna have a look. Yeah.
I'll let you. There's
I might
like, it's not everyone like, but it's just people being like, oh, can't wait for Britt Baker to botch, blah blah blah. Britt Baker's a widow. I'll have you know, her boyfriend died. First of all, like, it's just wrestling fans being wrestling fans. I hate them.
I want Spears
Oh,
to win.
dear.
Probably won't happen. I mean, I'm with him there. I do kind of want Spears to. It's kind of weird because
Part of me does.
I want him to.
I want Cody in the next match,
exactly. I'm
but
so
but I
like.
also want Spears to win.
I'm not in anyone's side. I'm just
But
like.
that's good. You should be.
Ah.
You know, sometimes anyway. Sometimes you just want we want the crowd to be against MJF, but sometimes it's good to have the crowd just be happy with either result. You know.
Yeah. She's a ninja. Apparently, that's Shida's gimmick, according to some people. I'm a ninja.
Is she a ninja? Is that just because she's Japanese? that
I
they're
don't know.
saying
Maybe
that?
that's just people
Probably.
being racist.
Yeah, or at least, you know, softly racist.
This proves
don't
Hangman
think
was
she's a
right all
ninja,
along.
is she?
They're the champions, and yet they have no team name. One match with Nakazawa, and already they're thinking.
This is
it's
something
the
I
end.
was gonna say. Yeah, this is something I was gonna say. That match is going to help. It's just gonna help in the whole Hangman Kenny storyline because Hangman can then be like, you're there with Michael Nakazawa teaming away, treating him like a tag team partner, and then we're tag team champions. You don't even team with me, blah 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 blah. You know. So it's just an extra layer to that story, even if it's not a huge deal.
Yeah. It's not a huge deal. Oh man, if there's one thing I miss in regards to like fights, it's just hearing from the commentators just we're back in.
You've ever had. What if we told you a story about two brothers growing up?
Two brothers. Anyway, Rick and Morty guy would know what that is. Two brothers.
We dreamed of having our own arena.
Ah, so that book. Okay, I thought it was gonna
Wrestling our friends.
be like a
Wasn't
promo,
about
but
the gate or the ratings on TV. We risked it all for the love. For the love. The love of
Yeah,
professional
it's
wrestling.
just an advert. I'll bring it down a bit. But
I'm just pouring myself a brandy.
a brand.
Sorry, boys. Sorry, boys.
Oh, we got a rankings report.
Let's take a look at the tag team division. Coming in at number 5, the man that pushed Kenny Omega very nearly to his limit last week on Dynamite, Trent, and his partner Chuck Taylor, best friends. In at number 4, representing Death Triangle, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, the Lucha Brothers.
Lucha Brothers in
Former
number 4.
AEW World Tag Team Champions
SCU.
Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, SCU,
I love Lucha
occupy
Brothers.
the number 3 spot. Nick Jackson, who's still on the road to recovery after that vicious assault by the Inner Circle, and his big brother Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks, are in at number 2. And in at number 1, undoubtedly much to the pleasure of Mr. Brody, the Exalted One, Brody Lee, is none other than Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, Dark Order. And sitting atop the ladder, a team whose record is a perfect 6-0
Oh.
for the year.
Really?
AEW
Dark
World
Order
Tag
5-0.
Champions, Kenny Omega.
What the fuck?
That's this year, isn't
Women's
it?
division.
Yeah, I didn't realise they were that high.
How the fuck did they manage that?
I dunno.
Oh my God.
Who has no shortage of animosity towards this week's top contender. The magical girl, Yuka Sakazaki. occupies
Yuka
number
Sakazaki.
Galaxy's
Oh,
greatest
she's
alien,
so good.
Chris
comes in at
Statlander.
number 2.
Is-
After a
yeah.
hard-fought victory last
She's an
Thursday
alien.
night,
I'm an
Hikaru Shida
alien.
retains control of the number 1 spot. Of course, all the contenders are vying for the AEW Women's World
Hikaru.
Championship, currently held
Bring in
by the
Sakazaki
native
more,
beast,
you
Yoko
craps.
Brothers. And now the men's rankings.
My God,
Controlling
Shida,
the number 1 spot,
she's
Darby
6
Allin,
and 1.
laser-like focus on the upcoming TNT championship.
Where is her title shot? Come
Yeah,
on.
and
Victory last Wednesday night is
I
the
think
number
her
4
loss was in a
who
a
remains
tag team
perfect
match as
on the
well.
year. In at number 3 is Cody, who will be facing Shawn Spears in the first round of the TNT Championship Tournament. The big movement this week comes from within the Inner Circle as Le Champion Chris Jericho drops to number 2. That means the undefeated Jake Hager is now situated
Undefeated.
at number 1.
4-0.
John Moxley, the AEW
But Kenny
World
Omega isn't
Champion,
that
will
far
make
off
his
either.
first title defense next week
There
against
we are.
Jake Hager in a no-holds-barred empty arena match. And
One
That's gonna be
thing
insane.
I
Go
think
on.
would be
the
interesting.
rivalry between the
Sorry,
AEW
one thing I was
World
going to say with
Champion John
Cody
Moxley
that could be
and the
interesting is if
challenger
he became number 1 contender and like kept staying there, and then the company kind of forced him, like if he is to ever win the championship, the company kind of like, look, you're the number 1 contender, we're going to force you to do it.
AEW Dynamite.
That will obviously be a long time down the road, but it'd just be an interesting story to tell, like him almost not wanting it.
care about.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be their hero. I fight for
Nope.
heroes.
Promo with Hager.
I don't want to be champion for love of sports. I want to be champion because it pays more.
I don't think people at home understand the kind of pain one must endure to vanquish a foe like Jake Hager. But they're gonna see it. Empty arena. And in this scenario, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Two of All Elite Wrestling's fiercest competitors will
They're
collide
making
for the
Hager a money
AEW
man.
World Championship as John Moxley
Yeah,
defends his title
it's
for the
good.
first time in an empty arena, no holds
JR
barred
would like
match.
that.
He's a cold. The winner's purse. It's all about the winner's purse. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, Catalina Hager, CEO of what?
CEO of what? Yeah. Of what?
I fight for my family. My wife has sacrificed more than anyone for me to have these opportunities. For me to just have the opportunity to step into a cage.
Well, she hasn't. You've made her CEO of whatever your company is, so she's not sacrificing.
thing that separates him from everybody else.
I'm punching your. Is that really?
Being the best. It burns inside of him every day. He
That's
wants
it.
to
Yeah,
be
that
the
is a
one.
that's a
Facing
boost.
the best that AEW has to
Hager's
offer,
wife abuses him.
Moxley proved time and time again that he was a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, imagine if he that was. the storyline.
That's a face
Hager the
turn.
badass getting beaten up by his 5'4" wife.
Nearly every top contender that's
Yeah, he can't fight back because it's immoral,
Jericho and
and she's the
There's
heel.
no money in it. That's why.
Intergender match.
No, there's no money in it. That's all he cares. He will for
doesn't-
money.
He doesn't fight his wife, not because it's immoral. Not because it's immoral, but because there's no money in it. So he has to get AEW to sanction an intergender match so he can get paid to fight his wife.
I mean, if you want to get
Okay.
heat,
Yeah,
Moxley.
easily. Especially especially if Hager put his wife over, she would be
waiting in the shadows
should be meant.
is a skilled fighter.
When I saw Moxley hold up that AEW championship, I knew it wasn't gonna last. I just didn't know it was gonna be me to stop him.
Timing is everything in sports. Everybody knows that. And I think right now is Jake's time. He's kind of coming into his own.
Jake's
as far as
time.
fighting and wrestling goes at the same time. I guarantee he's the best shape he's ever been in. He's the hardest he's ever trained in his life. Harder than he trained when he was in All-American in college wrestling. Like, this is his time now. It's his time to be champion, not only for Bellator but for AEW.
None of this was supposed to happen. It was never announced, but I was scheduled to fight for Bellator.
Have you been won over by Hager yet?
I've been in fight camp since the beginning of February.
Yeah,
We're here,
like
and I can
he's not
see
my favorite wrestler or anything, but like
fans will see
But like,
John
do
I
you
believe
think
his
more of
character
him?
because-
Do you believe do you believe more of him? No, do you think more of him in this current role than you ever did within WWE?
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Full-time.
Because
Nobody in the
he's-
history of MMA and pro wrestling that did it at the same time. A lot of guys have been very successful.
He's actually got something interesting to him now, even though it's very basic and he's just like a prize fighter. It doesn't have to be some complex gimmick.
And I think this is just a drop in the
and
bucket of what we're gonna see, you
just
know,
the way he's been booked and built so far,
Bellator's next.
It's no secret.
has been done well, I think. So
Yeah, it's like I think
I never cared about him in WWE. Although when he won the World Championship in the Elimination Chamber, I did celebrate because I thought it was hilarious.
Jake Hager is unlike anyone
But
faced today.
You know, a couple weeks ago, I hit Jake
and also because I found his gimmick like funny, but also obviously he was basically just
just about
being a
everybody
racist.
in this business.
yeah.
So I was like very confused. But
Why?
I just thought it was hilarious when he won because he won by roll up and stuff. I was just like,
That's a
oh.
humbling moment. That's when
But I hated Alberto Del Rio, so I was just happy he won. But I would be like, I'm much more invested in him now. But even so, he's still not my favorite wrestler. Like,
World heavyweight champion.
But no, I think like you said,
Heavyweight.
he's got a very basic gimmick to begin with. I'm not entirely won over with him yet. Like, I wouldn't say I like him at the moment. I think it's kind of hard to explain. But like, I think the idea of a prize fighter is good because they don't have that
Yeah.
in the company. So immediately you're on a winner because that's quite a regular old gimmick to have. But like you said, like it's not complex, but I think you can absolutely rebound from that with a more complex character moving forward. So the effects of
Yeah.
prize fighting, the cold-heartedness of a hit sometimes, and perhaps maybe it's like betrayal, and
yeah,
you know he betrays them because of said money, and then it's like it looking into oneself, then if that's what you want to become and everything, and then redeeming yourself and all that sort of stuff. Like immediately, like there's your character, you know. Like that's
Yeah.
just off the top of my head, but you can bounce off that.
yeah. No, definitely. I was gonna make a point. Something you said triggered something in my head, and now I've just forgotten it.
Like you know, just betrayal,
no,
being cold,
It's gone.
prize fighting.
No, it was way earlier. I just I don't know.
Like he
It's
didn't win
gone.
me over 100%. Like I don't know.
I can't remember.
But essentially, it's just like keeping it basic.
Um,
Keeping it basic for the time being isn't a bad thing.
I remember. Yeah, no, and he's not going to beat Moxley. Like it's. I think the reason why I'm okay with it is because he's not doing anything particularly massive. Like I don't need to be super invested. All I need to do is believe that he's a worthy challenger, and that will be enough for him to have a good match with Moxley. Because I know pretty much that Moxley's going to win that anyway.
Yeah.
and all I need is that obstacle for Moxley, and he is probably the biggest obstacle possible in terms that I would want for like a TV defense. You know, someone like an Omega or a Pac who could be built for a title match. I'd rather see that on a pay-per-view than a TV, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing I was going to say was I can't remember what it was you said that triggered this, but if he was somehow able to win the Bellator Heavyweight Championship, I think no matter what your plans are, slap the AEW Championship on him and let him hold both, because you don't know whether how long he's going to hold that Bellator Championship for, and then purely for the story reasons, run with the gimmick, and then when he loses the Bellator, I just think it would be a cool thing, because I don't know if that's ever happened. Like a fighter is the champion in both. But I would like to see that. Even if it stopped, like something that I would really want from happening. It's not stopped, but delayed. Let's say like Darby Allin was on the cusp. This is like 3 years down the line. Darby Allin's on the cusp of becoming AEW champion. But then Hager wins the Bellator championships. They're like, you know what? Let's make this, because I think that would just be such a cool kind of thing to do, basically.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Agreement with you, but go on.
But I was just going to say, but then, you know, always revert back to the plan you had. Don't let anyone. I wouldn't want that to cost anyone. Just delay it, you know.
Yeah, and like, I think Hager himself would benefit from that as well, but because
exactly,
if that loss,
I think the entire championship would be raised by that. I think so.
But it's like it's not only just that, but then when it comes to that point where he does drop that title, oh, we're back into it now. When it comes to that point where he does drop that title,
this was something that
I don't know this from first-hand experience, but you hear quite often how when people act, a lot of the time their performance can be enhanced when they think about like how they've generally felt in a very similar situation. They can project those emotions in that given time. They can take emotions from another point at a given time and place it on themselves in this moment.
Yeah.
So like the turn of, say, losing the championship or something or other, like you could get really creative with it, and yes, you'd be using the guy for his emotions, but like say if he lost the Bellator title, like that's obviously that's a sinking feeling for any fighter losing their title, like, but then in the context of AEW, having him then not long after, because of said loss, knock his confidence and lose the AEW title, you could then play into that emotion and like you can utilize that emotion and his current feelings and play into that a little bit more, and you know, yes, you're using that to a storyline advantage, but ultimately it would be a great television. And honestly, because it's such an honest reaction, and because Bellator's everyone knows it's a real thing, I think you can. It's probably a very good way to initiate probably a face turn. Not that I'm asking for that, but just as an option, just thinking about it, because like that's a very sympathetic thing.
If he was
to
able
happen.
to do that, it would be a way to do it.
It'd be a very sympathetic. Because naturally, just seeing the guy lose is a very, at least for nice people to watch, it's quite a sad thing to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like, even the heel, like if you're ever going to turn the face, the best thing is to let them hit rock bottom and then have that turn and be like, you know, everything I did when I was on top was wrong, and I want to do it again, but do it the right way. And then people it's a weird thing. Like when I'm trying to take an example that's outside of sport and outside of wrestling. So when Logan Paul had his like low point, he was big enough to come out and say, "I really fucked up," blah 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 blah, and I want to do things to make it better and stuff. And that actually got a lot of people, myself included, to turn around and be like, "This guy's not an idiot. He got caught up in a lifestyle, which I think nobody should be living. Not being rich and successful, but like kind of basically. But he got caught up in that and then took it way too far. But everything he's done since, even though like the boxing was kind of cringy and and it was all very played up to be like, oh, let's try and make some. I don't think there's any real hatred between him and KSI, but either way, he kind of turned into more of an entertainer, and like it was all very much more something where I could be like, oh, fair enough. Like you've actually turned your life around, and you've
Yeah.
tried to like sit there and be like, woe is me. You've been like, no, I was a dickhead, and and I deserve to be shat on, but at the same time, you're still a person. And I feel like a lot of people have found sympathy with him, and you can do that as well. It's like that's how you kind of turn someone bad into someone good, is you have them hit rock bottom from their own mistakes, realize their mistake, and then come out of it the other way.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega is just Kenny Omega is just the best. He just is.
If there's one thing I struggle to understand in the wrestling community, there's a lot of things I don't understand in the wrestling community, I'll be honest. But the one thing that does get to me, but then I hold back, but it does get to me, is when people believe that Kenny Omega has no charisma. Personally. I know it's a very strange and unique charisma.
I completely agree with you.
I know it's a very strange...
That's the thing, he's so unique.
Surely isn't
like,
that charisma?
If you're gonna say, and you can say like, yeah, no, 100%, and you can say that you don't like it. That's completely fair enough. Like someone's opinion of whether they like something is something you can't really argue with, because you either like it, you don't. You just can't really argue with it. But it's when people say like things like this is bad or this person doesn't have this, and it's like sometimes someone has something, they just have it in a different way.
Yeah.
Why are you out here, Sean? Shouldn't you be preparing for your match?
No, I love Sean. He's won me over with his gambling
really like him.
addiction.
I've always liked him. I didn't actually like him in WWE, but everything in AEW since the chair shot, I've really liked.
I've just been gutted. Go on.
I think I was going to make the same point, is about the booking of him and that he hasn't quite been utilised, but not everyone can be. It's a disappointment, but it's one of those things. I just hope we get to see more of him moving forward on Dynamite and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm just gutted that we're just missing out, because I think he's really shown that he has got a bit of character to him and because he has nothing has really happened since what he's done. Like it's just been the whole tag team.
It's not like he's done anything bad.
Yeah, it's just the tag team search the tag team partners. Pardon me, the tag team partner search campaign that he's had, and that's it. But then in episodes of Dynamite, we're just seeing his sort of his natural character come through of just like just absolute nonsense. It's not very well.
Yeah,
it's not a lot of a lot of depth, but I just want it's enough.
It's
for me to want to see more.
Yeah, exactly. I think last week his match with Sammy Guevara was so good because of their charisma together. If there is a guy, and I know like you'd have to put him in the inner circle for this to happen, so I don't know whether that's the right choice, because you've already got a tag team in there, so there's no point doing that. But if there's, at some point down the future, someone like Sammy Guevara would be a good partner if you are trying to do a tag team thing with him. But especially with the TNT Championship, I don't know why he can't just be one of those kind of upper mid card guys, because I do think he's kind of like, I say this in a nice way, but a shit Cody Rhodes, or like not quite as good as Cody Rhodes, but in a similar vein. In terms of like wrestling style, like he's similar, but I didn't mean to say like shit, but similar in that wrestling style to Cody, but just not quite on that level.
Nakazawa is a strange, unique gentleman, but a lovable gentleman at that. Trent is a weird one for me, right? Because, like, I think he is a void of charisma, personally. Only because... Oh! Bagoo! The
Is he
man
here?
has turned up when no one else would. Well, basically, Gareth has decided to wank for this entire episode of AEW. He's seen Sean Spears. He's seen
No,
the
it's Kenny
Mohawk.
Omega. It's Kenny Omega. It's Sean Spears, and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna have to wank for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so
I've seen Nakazawa get the oil out, and I'm just like, that's enough for me.
Yes.
I need that.
he actually was on camera, but because we saw Nakazawa was on, we knew he was going to oil up, and he's like, you know what, I'm joining on this oiling pie. So
So I'm currently oiled up, naked, and having a wank over this match.
yeah, he is currently touching tips with this table right now.
Oh dear.
Yep.
The real reason is we had some technical issues. Using a laptop, basically my camera wasn't working. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's just it's a
Let's just leave it at
computer.
that.
Its computer hasn't been working properly, so you've had to revert to a voice call, which is all good because at the end
And
of the day,
a picture of me, a great picture of me.
oh, beautiful picture. How are you, Bagoo?
How are you though, Bagu? Yeah, oh, said it at the same time.
Trent was going to have a big push in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's one of the reasons I think New Japan was so mad. He was going to get the US title push. That's why they would tease the best friends breakup in Japan, in my opinion. Now, I never knew this. Because this is going just slightly before, and it was the undercard as well, because when I was getting into New Japan, it was all about Okada and Omega. I think that's... But, yeah, on Fight TV, it's sort of been a bit unreliable. But either way... Oh, there's a verse in the Dynamite song.
Is there? Whoa, there's a verse in the Dynamite
There's a
song.
verse! There's words! Me, I'm fine, doing some schoolwork. Oh, man. Schoolwork? What's a fighter doing schoolwork for?
Why? What are you doing? Yeah, what are you? I thought you were like 30. In your 30s. What are you doing?
Older guys can go into education.
Presumably that's either your kids' work that you're doing, or that's some kind of university degree. Yeah, the Trent thing. I don't know, because I didn't watch New Japan then. But I've always been a fan of Trent since he was in WWE.
WWE?
In ring at least.
Okay.
But this is probably AEW. I didn't watch him in New Japan, so I don't know what he was like there. But AEW is definitely, they're getting the best out of him, I think.
That's fair. But the weird thing for me right now is like, I see so much more potential out of him, but then I'm not. I look at him and I see his ability, and I think you've got so much more to offer. But then character-wise, I'm not seeing that. But that's maybe because it's a tag team division. He probably hasn't got. And the thing is, he has got Orange Cassidy next to him, which is a bloody.
Yeah, and even Chuck Taylor shows more character than Trent does. Like he's a bit more charismatic, but I do think he is one of those wrestlers who is more kind of technical ability than he is character ability. But I'm a big fan of him. I always have been since I first saw him a good few years ago, and I always wanted him back in WWE. And when he was announced to sign for AEW, he was one of the things where I was like, oh, that's kind of like one of. He's not like a Kenny Omega or a John Moxley where I'm going to be excited for him every single week, but he's something that I'll be happy to see. Bagu said he's in university final semester for history. Is that just history generally, or is that a specific time? we probably shouldn't start talking about history, especially as Dynamite's back on now. But I am interested. So what kind of history is that?
Oh God, so you're going to start them off in a political history conversation.
I'm gonna start being like,
Oh,
yeah.
he's oiling. Oh God. Oh, don't rip the tights.
Did Chris Jericho just say, "Ooh, hentai"? Did I hear that right?
I think you might have.
Oh, Chris Jericho, he's just the best. He just is. He just is. There's no one better. That he is officially the greatest person on the microphone of all time.
I find it so strange how Nakamura and Kenny Omega are just like, you've got like this, I don't know, just modern legend of the business, and then you have Nakazawa, who's dragging people's dicks across the ropes, and they're aligned together throughout history. It's just like, oh,
Did you mean Nakazawa and Omega?
Nakazawa? Yeah. Did I say Nakamura?
Is that what you meant? You said, you said Nakamura and Jericho.
Oh my God, my bloody mind's gone haywire, man. Oh man,
I was so confused as to what you were talking about.
I
Because when
know.
you said Jericho, I was like, did Jericho say something like about Nakamura? And then, no, it is a weird partnership between those two. Obviously, we know it's because of their friendship, but
yeah.
like when you have like, it's the same in like New Japan. Like you have Okada teaming with Yoshihashi, and you're like, mate, you could have anyone, and that's who you choose. But yeah, it's just wrestling, isn't it?
Yeah, good mates and all. But like, I think. Oh, there we are. Bagu.
Just history. Sorry. Yeah, he said just history generally, mostly American history, but I don't have a speciality. If I go to advanced degree, I have a speciality. That's interesting though. I don't really know how American education works. I know you get a major and all that crap, but I don't really know how any of it works. But that's cool. That's an interesting topic. And he's also said DDT Pro is wild, man. Inflatable sex dolls, giant inflatable guys, matches in canoes. I have seen some stuff from there, and because I was very interested, specifically very interested in where Kenny got his kind of his roots. I know he didn't completely start there, but that was the kind of place he made himself initially. And yeah, let's just say I was very confused. Oh, Orange Cassidy, he's not having that.
He's not having it. He's just there. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't attack. Yeah, that's why you should watch the Omega documentary, because it doesn't go in depth, but it does dive into it for about 10 minutes, and it's really interesting because that's where he met Ibushi.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I initially went back, because I wanted to see kind of like basically as much as I could of their kind of relationship and their work together, because I'm a big fan of both of them basically, and I never got to see it, so I'm just really enjoying it. He's got another pair. He's too good. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
that's a disqualification. Come on now.
Aubrey.
Come on out, Audrey.
Audrey?
Shh. They didn't say that.
I think we're both tired from the sounds of it. Although I'm
not
more
tired.
I'm
not tired. I've had a beer and a couple of brandies, so.
Oh, for God's sake.
How else will I get myself through a wrestling show?
What are you saying about wrestling, mate? It's shit.
Mate.
It's fake.
Bagu, actually, if you're still here, I think you are. versus Tony Ferguson being arranged. And do you think, what do you think about fucking what's his name? The UFC man, Dana White, trying to get a private island to do UFC. I'm interested in your thoughts, particularly on the fight. Who do you think's going to win? I actually think it will be Gaethje.
Oh, you lot talking MMA? Bloody. That real shit? Nah, mate. That's not what I'm about, mate. I not fight. I'm
Bagu said Nakazawa has a better spear than Goldberg. Honestly, he probably does at this point. Like, Goldberg... That match at WrestleMania was somewhat embarrassing. The match in Saudi Arabia was even worse.
like, even like the story.
He should probably never wrestle again.
Even like the reports afterwards about how he refused to take the pin to the Fiend. I just think that just settles it. I think he was bad matches, a lot of the time bad stories, bad ego, all things
I just
considered.
don't like him.
And the company just changing plans for a man who's part-time, who's not worth their time.
I don't think they did change plans for him. I think they changed plans more for Roman and also for Wyatt to have a good match at WrestleMania. And he was kind of an easy one to insert there with a big name who would draw.
Yeah, but if they didn't sign him in the first place, they wouldn't have changed any. They most likely wouldn't have. I'm not going to say they wouldn't because that's a wrong statement.
But I still prefer that we would have had. Like, if it was a choice between us getting Cena versus Elias and Fiend versus Roman, or Fiend versus Cena and Roman versus Goldberg, this is in the dream world that none of the pandemic actually ends up happening, where they were when they made that decision, basically. I agree with the decision they made to go and get Goldberg, to then put Roman over on him, because Roman won't get booed when he wins. If anything, he'll get cheered even more because everyone hates Goldberg. And the Fiend gets a really good match at WrestleMania. So that's how I saw that. Even though obviously it ended up that Roman wasn't able to compete and everything you'd know now, then yeah, I would have rather seen the Fiend versus Braun Strowman with a story building to it, for example. But from where they were at the time, I think they made the right choice.
Are you seeing this from Nakazawa?
Yeah, the match? Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, Nakazawa's just a weird one, isn't he?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. No, I can see your point, and to be honest, I think you switched me over. I think you are right. No, you are right, mate. You are right.
I mean, again, ideally, I would rather it was anyone else apart from Goldberg in that position anyway, beating the Fiend. Like, I'd rather they used that spot for it to be like a current talent to then lose to Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Putting over a current talent, like, I don't. Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, any of those who I'm not massive fans of. But I do think ultimately the right choice was to have Wyatt versus Cena. And I would have liked to have seen Roman Reigns win the title, but sadly, obviously, he chose not to, and fair play to him.
Dickhead, mate. Dickhead. Sort your life out, mate. Oh.
Right, Nakazawa's taken the pin, as I suspected, all along.
How would you have felt if, like, Kenny Omega took the pin and Nakazawa was just pushed to the stars?
I mean, Omega had taken the pin because it would have put over Best Friends even more. But yeah. Technically, also, they've beaten one half of the tag team champions. So it is still a big win for them regardless.
You're not wrong there,
Bagu
mate.
said would never take that move. What move are you talking about, Bagu? What move would you
It
not
was-
take?
it
Is that the
was-
pile driver?
No, it was the gentleman's.
Here we go.
Underwear.
All four of them going in. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. All of them hugging Orange Cassidy. Is Brody Lee driving a G-Wagon? Please
that-
tell me he is. That is the most Vince McMahon thing to ever. He is. Brody Lee is driving a G-Wagon. What an alpha male.
I love this already.
He's got a woman. Oh, I'm so happy Brody Lee is free.
You gentlemen understand perception is reality? You understand that? So why do you two look the way you do and he looks the way he does? When I send you out on a trip, what do you think people think of you two? You look like them, like you could be one of them. When you walk through the airport, what do you think the perception is of you?
Oh.
You think it's power? Wealth? Look at you two.
Sorry to be quiet,
Look at him.
but I am very interested in Brody Lee in this.
Yeah, same. Shut up.
I am here to make every single life I touch extraordinary. Okay, you understand that? And when it gets laborious, when it becomes a sacrifice to you, that means that you two are looking at the exit ramp and not the highway ahead, where the next sign reads, unlimited power, unlimited success. Do you two understand?
Unlimited
Put your
power.
act together and show me that you want it. I have an opportunity for you.
Oh. What's this opportunity?
A squash match.
Don't end it there. I mean,
I think it will continue, or it will lead into a match. The panties. I agree, Bagu. I probably wouldn't want to take that move either. I'm just going to pop to the loo because it's a commercial break. So I'll be back in a second. I agree, Bagu. I love that segment as well. I've grown on the Brody Lee Dark Order stuff. Every week it grows on me. But anyway, I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to the loo.
Oh, Jesus. Let's turn this down. I've heard this song way too many times in my lifetime.
Goodbye, mate. I'll be back.
Fuck off, mate. Sort yourself out, mate. Ah, let's have a look. Cool. That has been a strong episode of Dynamite so far. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's been the strongest by any stretch of the imagination. But in terms of stuff we've had so far, it's been decent. The women's match was amazing, I thought. I mean, don't think it was, don't get me wrong, not pay-per-view level for TV. I thought it was amazing. Scottish match from Archer and some local talent. Yeah, it's, it's kind of a rehash of something we've already had. Not really into that, if I'm honest. Like, not to say that it's bad, but it would have been cool to have just seen someone we're more familiar with, I guess. More TV time, a more meaningful win at that. It just kind of works out for most people, I guess. But we got the tournament matches coming up now. At least I'm very sure we should be getting 2 tournament matches in this. Obviously, the one. Well, actually, I don't know. We're getting 2. I know we're definitely getting 1. I've seen Spears and Cody get advertised a lot more for this one, so maybe it's just the 1. But regardless, we got a segment with Matt Hardy coming up soon as well. That should be really good. I am actually genuinely looking forward to that. Yeah,
I'm back.
I'm in agreement with you there. Yeah, Simon Darby. They haven't really been advertising that. I'm not too sure. I don't know. They've really hyped up Spears against Cody, heading into this Dynamite. I haven't seen anything regarding Sammy Davi. I don't know if I've been silly in thinking that that's next week or.
I think that Bagu says that's also tonight. I feel like it.
I don't know.
No,
They've just not talked about it.
Exactly. I feel like they would have mentioned if it was tonight. I thought it was. I thought it was. The one side of the bracket tonight and the other side of the bracket next week, and then we were going to get a semi-final every week and the final on the fifth week of the 5.
Yeah.
But maybe they're dragging out even longer than that. I don't know. They have recorded everything, so they might have changed their mind.
It's honestly, it just seemed but no, they do need to give a match, proper match, and I'm sure Colt will be next week's half, right? Yeah, about he's just confirmed what we thought. Wicked legend. Cheers for letting us know. But yeah, what I was saying, I just gave a little brief sort of thoughts on with this episode, and I was just talking about Archer and that it's just somewhat of a rehash of what we've already seen, him dominating someone, and it's even local talent. So
I think it's building that character, isn't it? That's all.
It is.
Really.
No, it isn't. It's just it is what it is. But I'd look forward to. Oh, bloody hell, Brett!
What the fuck was that?
Are you serious? No, because being number 1 means being a leader, being a role model.
Is that nose slightly dislocated or broken?
Look at me. I lost half of my blood out there on the mat.
I can't tell. I'm not an expert in regards to this. I'm not going to say anything that's going to sound ridiculous. But she is a legend.
What a promo. Even if she did, I can fix it myself because I'm a dentist. Smiles and just walks off. Incredible. I hope Sammy versus Darby is tonight. I feel like they would have said, but...
No, I was on the assumption that they were. It's just all I have heard about heading into this episode is Spears versus Cody. So it just... It's caused some doubt, and I haven't seen any promo for it as far as I'm aware, and obviously I got commentary down, so if Chris did say anything, then that's just me not being able to see. But there we are. We'll just see how it goes. We got a segment with Matt Hardy as well, so maybe that'll break up the two matches as well, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to that. I love the whole Matt Hardy thing. That's just right up my alley.
Not because I have an ego, because I want to provide.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking forward to seeing what he does. Basically, that's about it.
I just love the fact that we're just seeing stuff that's just completely oddball and ridiculous and not typical. And I mean, a surprise.
And we're also seeing a massive amount of. Sorry.
No, go on. No, we're seeing a massive amount of.
Go ahead. No.
No.
I was just going to say we're seeing a lot of diversity in terms of tap. Fuck's sake, just say your thing.
I was saying that basically surprises and all that stuff, like Brody Lee being the leader of the Exalted One and all these variety of things, they're very satisfying surprises that come along and whatnot. And surprises in a certain promotion bigger than AEW is the Big Show turning up to challenge after being away from the company for about part of a year.
What are you saying about Paul White, the Giant? All right, at one point he was the biggest free agent in wrestling, so just leave him alone. No, and I don't know. It's hard to compare because someone like Big Show is like a legend who's always gonna get the pop of a legend. He has the respect of it, but it's not as exciting for sure.
I can't believe John Moxley's 6'4", apparently to that. 6'4".
He's not 6'4". I'm sorry. Their fucking tales of the tape and all that are so skewed. They're worse than that boxing match with KSI and Logan where they're like, oh yeah, KSI is 6 foot. KSI's not 6 foot. I'm sorry. He's not very tall.
I'm gonna have a look now. John Moxley height.
He's not 6'4". Alright. He's just not. He's 6'1", maybe 6'2".
He's 6. It says his build height, according to General Google, is 6'2".
There we go. And build height isn't even accurate. But
except going through me. I force
that's
you
just what they
to
tell
fight
you.
me.
Didn't
It's the one thing
realize.
about like AEW. I just like I've seen some of their like the build-ups, or it's like this guy weighs this much, and I was like, there's no way he's weighing that much, or this guy's this tall, and like, there's no way he's that tall. Just tell the truth. With things like that, it's just like I don't know. It seems a bit WWE-ish, you know, where they're like, oh, yeah, fucking Rey Mysterio is 6'10".
10
Like,
billion people have turned up in the capacity crowd. 10. Oh, just fuck off.
that's the kind of lie I don't mind because it's not actually
oh.
anything to do with the product. But when you're lying to me, it's telling me that John Moxley's 6'4". I'm sorry, he's just not, and I can see that. I can't tell whether there's 70,000 in the stadium or 100,000. I don't really care either, so it doesn't matter.
I didn't realize.
Bagu says 22 hours ago they said Darby Allin and Sammy was today. If it was under a day ago and they haven't corrected it since, then be delivering on that, shouldn't they? It's just weird that they haven't mentioned it, or maybe they have and we both just ignored it.
When you say that, Brody and WWE, they advertised Edged. Oh, Brody Lee's in action.
They've got Brody Lee in action, Matt Hardy saying something, and the main event with 40 minutes left to go. I don't think we are getting. So they must have lied, or Bagu's talking shit.
Bagu's scheming against us.
He's just trolling us. He's there laughing, knowing full well it's next week.
So, this means that Gareth Swank is going to have to prolong.
Oh, mate.
I mean, unless they have bloody...
Wank.
They'll have Cody squash spears or something ridiculous like that now, and oh, God.
Nah, Cody's going at least 15 minutes in the main event.
Yeah.
I feel like Cody's just one of those guys who just is always going to want to do that. I'm just scrolling back on their thing.
It seems really odd considering this is apparently taped that they haven't mentioned it. I mean, at the end of the day, like Brody Lee, that could easily be a squash. Matt Hardy.
It could be like
under 5 minutes.
And they could do another quick match between Darby and Guevara, like they did at the pay-per-view, because it could just be so electric that they just go mental. April 7th, that's a couple of days ago.
So yeah, I don't know. I would be gutted if it isn't happening, but that just I guess a bigger spot next week or something or other like that.
Yeah.
Maybe hopefully that would be the case. But they've taped it. I don't know. What do I know?
We'll see.
But a new viewer joined us today as well. Hello.
Sorry?
We had a new viewer join us today as well. So hello.
We do have a new viewer. Welcome, and let us know what you think of AEW, or if you're watching NXT, don't spoil.
Just let you know, Gareth doesn't normally.
If it's any good.
Gareth doesn't normally stand still. Just,
Yeah. Usually, I'm actually here, but what is going on? I don't know what I'm doing. So that's completely stop. My computer's gone mental. There we go.
Oh, we got Bagu twice, it would seem.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for joining us again, Bagu, because it just boosts the ratings. Well, not the ratings, the views. I'm talking there like it's TV.
Basically, we got Rich B, who's like, he seems more babyface. You got Richard Bagu, and he's heel.
Rich B.
Welcome to the Hardy compound. I am on Dynamite this week to respond to what Le Hole of the Ass, Chris Jericho,
Le Hole
said
of the
last
Ass.
week. For some reason, he was asininely sitting in a tub that is hot in leather pots. Chris Jericho, you insulted my allies, the elite.
Why was that just his chest?
You surround yourself with Chris Jericho, the the circle that is internal, the Spanish god, Sammy Guevara. He is a false god. As a matter of fact, he is also probably a fraud Latino. Can he even speak Spanish? I'm sure if I went up to him and said, ¿Qué paso?, he would respond, no hable español. And then you have proud and powerful. I would rather call them loud and devourable, because I love Puerto Rican food. I cannot wait to sink my teeth into Santina and Ortiz. And then there's the big man, Jake Hager. He used to actually be smart, very intelligent, very well spoken. But you have him totally brainwashed, Jericho. A Jakenstein. If you put 2 bolts in the side of his neck, the transformation would be complete. I know the circle that is internal thinks it is going to take over All Elite Wrestling, but I will not, I cannot allow that. You tried to recruit my most loyal soldier, Vanguard 1. Never! As a matter of fact, bring me the shirt, Vanguard! Vanguard, my friend, come down. Vanguard, that is not the shirt I asked for. I mean, suddenly I'm happy to see my beautiful, resplendent, magnificent, wonderful new shirt. But I was asking for that shirt that the dastardly Chris Jericho gave you. You said it's fire? Oh, dumpster fire. Yes, of course. Literally, it's a dumpster fire. This is what is going to happen to the inner circle. They are going to become a dumpster fire, because they shall be broken. Myself and the elite shall delete them. Lay hold of the ass. I have a very special offer for you. Accept my invitation. Come to the Hottie compound. Face me in the elite deletion.
The elite deletion.
Are they setting up for Jericho versus? Oh, hi Lee Johnson. Thanks, Johnny. So are they setting up for Brody Lee? Not Brody Lee. Fucking Matt Hardy versus Chris Jericho. That's cool.
That's amazing.
Imagine having Matt Hardy and not doing any of this stuff, then doing it with other people when he's gone. Yeah, they just completely, especially with the reaction to the cinematic matches they got on WrestleMania. They probably sat there thinking we could have really done something with Matt Hardy. Or they're probably not, because they don't know what they're doing, realistically. But that is a very good point, Bagu. Imagine not doing this with Matt Hardy.
I think looking at it from a positive light... Oh, Brody Lee's coming out. Looking at it from a positive light, I mean, at the end of the day, now, apparently, all we're meant to be seeing from The Undertaker from now on is these sort of cinematic matches, which maintains that presence of The Undertaker, that very... like, we look at him in a positive light rather than an old crippled man, you know, because, let's face it, he hasn't had a great match in some time, and if they want to have the Undertaker name, I think this is just a very reasonable way to go about business. And of course, it's obviously helped them realise that maybe with Bray Wyatt, maybe more, I'm not saying all of it, because at the end of the day, he's a wrestler. He's going to have to turn up and do some wrestling matches. He can absolutely
He can still put on a very good match with a good opponent.
But there's, for when specific feuds, so like as if you'd use a Hell in a Cell stipulation, like how you'd use a stipulation here, Last Man Standing, you know, like all these
when it fits.
When it fits, use it, because it's going to break up the card. It's going to really do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Momentum and the impact of that strike from Mr. Brody, taking Lee Johnson right off his feet. Wow. I like this Lee Johnson. He trains. He looks like a wrestler. Yes, he does. He looks like a star, but I feel bad for him making
Brody Lee not in. Why is Pharaoh just there?
Why is... I don't even know if that is Pharaoh.
It's just some dog is at ringside.
Look at this. Wow. It's an Eddie Guerrero style swanton type of a thing. Very good call. This man's 6'8".
Again, not true. He's not 6'8".
Look at his back. I mean, this guy.
He's just immense. You heard Albert Edwards say he's
Why lie?
Ooh. I don't think Jericho's lying. I think he's just exaggerating.
Yeah.
Men come into this company. We saw Lance Archer earlier, and now see Mr. Brody.
Why you lie? Oh.
Spinning slam. Amazing what he can do, the offense he can generate. We've got some literal giants in this
Like,
company.
Lee Johnson has the in-ring gear of default attire number 4 on
He
WWE
does,
2K20.
poor guy. We could still have that match, you know.
I mean, yeah, we've just gone
yeah.
away with 2 things now.
Yeah, in a few minutes. You could have another ad break and still have both matches. Bagu said, I like Brody's gear. I do prefer this gear. When he turned up in the purple stuff, I wasn't a fan of the purple stuff, but now it's gone black. It's okay. Yeah, I didn't like the purple stuff.
Personally, I'm not a fan. He looks like a Beta Kane with all like the rips and everything.
Maybe, yeah.
It reminds me
I
of the
don't.
Kane.
I haven't really been focusing on the rips or the scratches or whatever they are. I've been more focused on that, like the and the colors. But yeah,
I would
just
have liked
another
him.
outbreak.
I would have liked him to wrestle in like, I don't know. Also, they only have so many guys who can use their nose tape as they did, and they like wrestled. They pulled some guys up the squashes. Yeah, have you ever had a wrestling school? Like, I think Cody's got one, or something like that. I can't remember.
I think I'm not sure about Cody, but I know Sean Spears has got one. Like kind of, and I'm pretty sure these tapings are taking place in Atlanta. And I think his is near to Atlanta. So yeah, a lot of these guys I think are from there, and I don't mind the odd squash. I do think we're getting too many of them for my liking, but at the same time, we're in a pandemic when there's only a certain amount of guys available. There's only a certain amount of times you can do Jimmy Havoc versus whoever, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to see that every week, so I don't mind them doing it. You know, and ultimately, I'm sure it's great for those guys who are actually getting it as well. This is their first time on TV, so it's good for them. So, like, I'm not gonna ever hate on it, but I would hope that it was kept to one a night, because we've seen 2 tonight now. So, for the current tapings, they only recorded a bunch in a day or 2, so only like 15 AEW guys there. Yeah, exactly. You can only do a certain amount of matches with that. There's only a certain amount you can do, and you don't want to be doing. You don't want to be like blowing your load within 10 seconds with guys like Brody Lee and Lance Archer in particular. You want to kind of build them, get them to the bigger matches, and then when it's time to have the big matches or their first loss or whatever, it comes at a time when they've looked dominant enough, you know. So there's nothing wrong with it. Has tweeted, so hyped for at I Am Jericho versus at Matt Hardy brand at the Hardy compound. Clap. Ooh. No, clap clap. Ooh.
Clap, clap,
Hashtag
ooh.
AEW Dynamite. I agree.
I am
100%,
hyped.
I say.
I am hyped to see these boys do the wrestle.
It will be good, especially it's a great way to utilize the whole pandemic thing.
I mean, it's just a great thing in general. Let's just not beat around the bush.
It is good in general, but considering the thing we're in, it's just good to see. It's a great way to get around, and it'll only help build. Because my issue with the Blood and Guts match was there wasn't enough build. This has actually allowed us to give us more build to that, which is good. So I'm glad about that.
It's Lance Archer going up one-on-one against Colt Cabana. That match will be next week. The winner of that match will go on to face the natural Dustin Rhodes against Kip Sabian.
Right now, a special look at tonight's first-round matchup. Two men who know each other quite well. Sean Spears and the
So Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin are main eventing.
Did they say it was tonight? Some dramatic guitar music.
I mean, unless this is like a half-hour classic.
I mean, it could be because it's Cody. If they're going to put Sean Spears over, I don't think it's going to be a short match. Over in losing, sorry. I don't think it'll be a short match because that wouldn't make any sense. Did they mention... I had my stream on mute there because I was looking at Twitter. Did they mention the Sammy Guevara Darby Allin match?
Yeah,
At all?
They just said they will face the winner of either Allin or Sammy Guevara. They didn't say anything on it all that much. But then the next match...
They said would be next week. That's when I came back in.
Yeah.
So look back to their match at All Out, which was a slightly overbooked but fun all the same match. I enjoyed a lot of this.
Yeah, but it's sending mixed signals, if I'm honest.
Two men, as I said earlier, who know each other quite well. Sean Spears, the chairman of AEW, against the American Nightmare Cody. Now Spears has a size advantage, but Cody obviously...
You were at All Out and Double or Nothing. That makes me very, very jealous.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for them to do a UK show at this point, and I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go in a heartbeat.
I can't wait for them to do a UK show.
Honestly, money isn't an option at the moment. But sorry, money is no
6-3.
object. It's just I'll just do it. Come on, cheer boy.
They said tonight's tournament match, so that is singular. Yeah, I think this is it. I think we'll get like a 20-minute match-ish, something like that. Maybe something will happen afterwards, especially if Sean Spears loses. I can see him like attacking Cody afterwards.
So it's this, and then it's the match next week, but in the different bracket. So next week it's either one of the other matches in the other bracket, and then I think the next week after will be Darby Allin versus Sammy, and then vice versa.
Maybe.
Don't like the scarf type attire that he's wearing, but I think he's got a great chance to win this match tonight in advance.
Not to be a jerk, but forgot the UK lol, not really. Mate, everyone, which, truth be told, I'm not really pro like UK most things, but like, I do think the UK crowd is one of the louder crowds out there. Admittedly, even if they chant a load of shit, they are.
In terms of an atmosphere,
yeah, they know.
At least on a WWE show, I think AEW fans generally a bit more singy. But on a WWE show, I prefer a UK crowd to an American crowd generally, unless it's like a post-Mania crowd or a big pay-per-view, in which case usually there's a lot of UK fans over there. So, but yeah, whenever they do like a Raw or SmackDown in the UK, the crowd's always 100 times better. But when it comes to things like NXT or AEW or whatever, where the crowd's a little bit more respectful and up for it, sometimes the UK crowd can get a little bit annoying. Especially having sat in the middle of one where I'm there trying to enjoy a match, and then people are there like, we're all the lads, and you're like, shut up.
In response to what you've asked, yes, me and Gareth live half an hour away from one another, so we're very close in regards to distance. We're not close friendship-wise. I think he's a twat. There we are. I'm actually joking. Like
the thing with Kieran is Kieran basically shagged my mum. So ever since then, we haven't been very good friends. But we started this podcast, and we're going to continue it. But Kieran has slept with my mother. Nah, but I have slept with Kieran's mother.
We use each other's friendships for mothers' sexual gain.
Oh no,
we're simps.
Don't say that.
That's the new word now.
Nah, to be honest, I'd rather sleep with your dad than your mum. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Really? Fair enough.
Only because there's a flat earther, so I automatically respect her less.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I would not. It's really strange, the whole flat earth thing, for me.
As Jericho said, let's get back to the match here.
The funny thing is that you've had a drink, I haven't.
I know, yeah, I've got an excuse. I've had a few beers and a couple of brandies.
Oh, you're mental, mate.
I'm bloody mental.
Spears has been doing this for over a decade, 15, 20 years or so. He's got a lot of experience. He's one of those guys that's going to break out huge one of these days. He's just waiting for a break, and tonight this could be a chance for him to get that break and advance.
Apparently these two are good friends.
These two are great friends. I didn't even know that when AEW started. Like, I had no idea that they were really good friends.
Beat her up. Beat her up. Spears, go on. Be a jackass. Be a heel. You're a heel. He just starts picking fights with everyone.
He's a spectator tonight. Tell him to keep his hands off the performers, off the wrestlers. There you go. Here he comes. Look at that. He's the chairman, Gunn. You want some of that? Hit you in your stupid big fat head.
I love Chris Jericho.
Everyone loves Chris Jericho.
Yeah, you can't hate him.
Great move there. They go. Oh, got it too. Trying to get the pin though. That's an amateur pin right there, Tony. Amateur wrestling. Right there. You know what kind of champion he's not going to be? The AEW World Champion. Because he can't. I took that away from him. Okay, well. Did you release the hounds on that possum?
Oh.
Okay. Fast count from Aubrey.
Alright, Cody, we know you're keen for that pin, jeez.
He's obsessed with it.
He's obsessed. I've got to get a pin in every second of this match. I hate Cody doing
This is too very much
the Os cutter.
The Cody cutter, actually. Yeah, it's just two very much like kind of more wrestlers.
I think it's just a weird thing in general when I can't quite put words to it, but just because obviously Randy Orton he has basically revolutionized the cutter. We don't, although of course like you've got like DDP and he had his cutter and whatnot. Like the RKO in general, that is beyond wrestling. Like it like people who don't watch wrestling
like
are fully aware of it. You know?
Exactly, that's something that you know, a certain friend of ours who's a vegan, who doesn't really know anything about wrestling. I think he's watched one show. He knows what the RKO is.
And so when I see the RKO used in like independent wrestling, like Oscar and everything, immediately it's just like but it's not. It's like you watching. It's like but it's not the RKO though, is it? It's just, and it's not a thing.
To be fair,
go on.
Okay, there's a difference.
I was just gonna say, to be fair, like I think like there are a few things you can say about Randy Orton to give him like real credit, like in certain things he's done. I think character-wise, in terms of a heel over the last 20 years, there aren't very many who have done a better job consistently. He's obviously, what is it, 13, 14-time world champion, something like that in WWE. You've got to be good at a certain level of good, and even though some of his booking has got stale, I think it just shows he's shown even this year when he's given the right thing, he can absolutely nail it still. But the one thing I think it will always be is that RKO, and even if he has a bad match, if he's winning it with some kind of cool RKO, there's always going to be a memorable spot from it. And there's so many of those where it's like he has a WrestleMania moment against. Okay, there's a break. He has a WrestleMania moment against Seth Rollins where the match was kind of meh, but everyone remembers it because of that RKO at the end. And that's the kind of thing where it's like you can only kind of give a little bit of credit to that, really, because he's managed to he's made it that. It's not just the fact that it was that.
Yeah.
He's kind of made it that through the way that he's used the move and the way that the move has been protected as well.
Well, yeah, and like I understand. Bugger, I do agree with you. It is like, somewhat a stupid one-handed diamond cutter, and like realistically, I mean, from a realism point of view, like how would that ever really hurt someone? The fact that your arm hits the ground before their face does, really, like actually looking at it. I mean, it's if anything, you're protecting them just a slight because a lot of the time it's not really hitting that well.
It's
what have
a DDT, a standard DDT realistically hurts more.
Yeah.
But that's putting logic into wrestling. But no, I think it's more about the way that it's sold and the way that the story's told around it, rather than the fact that certain other people hit a better cutter or whatever. Like,
oh no,
it's
like
more
yeah, but like it's not really the point. It's the fact that it's somewhat beyond wrestling. So when it's like psychologically, it's just a thing of when you see that move, it's just you can't help but associate it with like Randy Orton and how it's just it I don't know. It's just and maybe it's because I've grown up just seeing that. That's all I've ever seen. You know, you grow up until like you're 15 and what have you, and like WWE is all you've ever known. And that move, that cutter, like even DDP, when I saw DDP use the cutter, I was like, hang on, that's Randy Orton's move. And of course, that's completely not the case. But, like, DDP always used two hurts, so at least makes sense to control them. Yeah, you know, but like, I mean, look at the AA. You know, is that really a devastating move? You got a guy on your shoulder, and you throw them onto a bit of wood. I imagine it hurts a little, but I don't think it would knock a guy down for a 1-2-3. You know, there's plenty of moves out there.
Yeah, realistically, it wouldn't.
Look at the Rainmaker. I mean, we're massive fans of Okada, and I'll defend the man to the end. But the Rainmaker in itself isn't all that much of.
It's not realistic.
It's not an impactful finisher. Like it's an impactful finisher in its meaning, but I think where the point that we're getting at.
It's one of those things like Kenny Omega's finisher isn't particularly devastating in how it looks. The Crossroads, like a lot of the top wrestlers' finishing moves aren't realistically great. It's completely in the way that it's booked for me. So for me, like the RKO, the fact that very few people kick out of more than one, or even kick out of one to even begin with. Obviously, in the really big matches, Cena's kicked out of it. Whoever's kicked out of it in the past. But for the most part, when the RKO is hit, that's the end. And that's kind of what it comes down to more than it is anything else. Less so with like the Rainmaker because people kick out of one Rainmaker, but it's the fact that it's Okada. So when he hits it, like there's always a chance, a realistic chance that it's over. And the only time when it isn't over after one is when it's someone who they're putting over. So it's Ibushi kicks out of 2 or 3, whatever, but that's in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, so it's okay. It's completely in the booking for me.
No, we'll check
those out when you.
I don't know where you're
Check out what? Sorry.
Is it check out? Just let us know where you're after, man. The thing is, I'm all for this. Like, because at the end of the day, like, there's only so much we know, and you've obviously got an extensive knowledge on the history of these things and everything. So if there's anything you'd like us to see, then we will check it out. But yeah, I just think, and I think the whole point of a finisher in itself isn't so much how cool it is. It can absolutely be amazing if it is a cool finisher, don't get me wrong. But I mean, look what I did to Rey Mysterio. Like, I don't really think that move is all that powerful, but all the kids that saw that when I was that age and I saw that, that was insane. No, the link didn't post, Bigu. It didn't.
Yeah.
But like, I think once you grow a bit mature and you delve into the story a bit more, so I think it does become a thing of booking, and I think that's where, as we're coming on to like the RKO thing, every the one-winged angel thing, the Goldberg thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
even like Hulk Hogan had a leg drop. Like a lot of the moves, like throughout the history of wrestling, have never been that particularly. Like The Rock finished matches with a fucking elbow drop, for God's sake. Like every top wrestler, like very few. I feel like out of all the top ones, Bret Hart, who has a submission move, that's believable. The stunner, particularly in the way that it's sold and the way that it was protected, that's believable. But a lot of the guys who are like top guys out of wrestling have kind of finishing moves that don't look like they should hurt, and it's purely in the booking of them, I think, that saved them.
Yeah.
I haven't checked my Twitter, sorry. I don't know what link. It's on Messenger. I'll check those out afterwards, mate.
I can chuck them on the live stream if you want after this.
We can do that after
Dynamite.
After the match. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes. Oh. There we are. Oh, well, legend.
Part of me does agree, though, with what Bagu said earlier about Cody hitting the Oscutter. I think just because of the fact that a lot of AEW's fans will be aware of Will Ospreay. Definitely another break. Fucking hell.
They're proper NXT in there up in
the hardcores and stuff. Yeah. But a lot of the fans, particularly the hardcores, will be aware of who Will Ospreay is, and they'll know that. And I feel like you could just leave that, especially because one day I would like to see Will Ospreay come over to AEW, not for a while or only in the near future if it's to do with a New Japan alliance, let's put it that way. But even so, like you could. I know Cody's been doing it for a while anyway, so it's not like he should sacrifice one of his moves. But it's not like I don't know. I would like to see that just left for a Will Ospreay thing, for it to be more special.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement.
It's not in their company, so.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I don't know how long Cody's been doing that move though. In all honesty, I can't remember. So it'd be unfair if he's been doing it for years or something. I'm not saying he has. I'm just saying it'd be if that were to be the case.
I can't remember if he did it in WWE because He always did the disaster kick off the ropes.
Oh
I remember
yeah,
that.
and they wouldn't have that in WWE anyway, would they? Because of course the RKO thing. I at least
Exactly.
that's
But
what
I
you'd
know
expect.
he was doing it in New Japan and Ring of Honor and stuff. I know because I saw a couple of matches where he bopped it out. But yeah, even so, like, it's one of those things that you could have just left. But again, it's not their company. They don't have to look out for Will Ospreay kind of thing. And Will Ospreay probably doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
Like, knowing Will Ospreay, he just doesn't really give a fuck about that kind of thing. He probably just wants everyone to have fun, and that's the kind of person he is.
Yeah. But no, that's fair. That's fair. It's understandable. I love the crossroads though, done by certain the person on the receiving end. When they sell that particularly well, it's one of the more amazing looking moves. I can understand why someone would want it as their finisher in that case then, because if you got like a Kenny Omega or a Sammy Guevara or a Darby Allin, you know, just someone who's obviously more agile, more athletic, and is able to do that sort of jump and give that move more impact, then it obviously looks a million times better.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Cody just isn't as good at the. I mean, that's fair.
He isn't. Yeah.
That's fair.
When Will Ospreay hits it, you're really like, "Wow, that's a big thing." When Cody hits it, it's partly to do with how they sell it. Like, they never sell it as a finishing match, a finishing move. But Sean Spears is getting a table out. But with Will Ospreay, he does sometimes win with that, and when he hits it, it is always a near fall. Whereas with Cody, it's always just a move with Cody.
Chairman getting the table out.
He could have got himself disqualified from using that table. Right? You gotta be careful.
Opinions on Cody Rhodes' tattoo after nearly a month? What do you reckon?
It doesn't really bother me anymore. When he first got it, I was a bit like, "Ooh, what's that? That's a bit weird." But now it's just there, and I don't really care about it. Basically.
I'm in the same boat. I know it's a very boring stance to take, but it's just, yeah. I mean, it's sort of faded just a little bit. It's not as
it's not
prevalent.
so blatant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never have done that.
Yeah, no, I don't have a particular issue with it. It is still a little. It does still stand out. But I love Chris Jericho. He's just so good. But yeah, I don't really mind the tattoo anymore. It was the first week I was a little bit like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But since it faded a bit, it's fine.
Wow, and both are down here right now. Come on, Spears! Get up, Spears! Come on!
Jericho's really going for it.
I'm into this match. I'm really enjoying this. Making it personal. This is a heck of an opening match. Let's see a replay of that. Hey, monkeys in the truck. There you go. Great replay. From multiple angles too, with our great production.
They should have Chris Jericho commentate for Guevara's match as well. But, oh,
I love Chris Jericho there being like a great production team, even if they are a bunch of idiots. He has to put them over, but then he's got to still stay in character as well.
it shows us how much he believes in himself too. Like, he's full in on himself and their product. A bit jarring because it comes off a bit. This comes up, but it's not as hideous as I thought. No, I think a lot of the time when we see something in general, like, I think we're all guilty sometimes of not liking things that are completely new and against what we're normally seeing. A big old spot there. Look at Spears.
Yeah.
In general, I'm not saying that's all it is, but you know, that I think that comes into it sometimes when we just see something that completely jarring to what we're used to.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I do agree. It's still a little bit jarring when you spot it.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as it was in the first
It's
week,
not.
and I think the more it goes on, we'll just get used to it. I think.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you, Bagoo. It's just, at the end of the day, AEW is for the long run. It's just shown his commitment. You know, it's obviously a big part of his life anyway. You know, and Yeah, so well and good. It's the placement is odd. Let's be honest with us. I think that was it was never the tattoo itself. It was the placement. But
Yeah.
nah, but it's all good.
Like, if he had it on his shoulder, it wouldn't be quite as obvious, but...
I hate that so much. I'm sorry. I love Cody to bits, but I hate it
like,
when
near fall on the
it's
counter.
on the 9.
Yeah.
He needs to go back to the attack and not worry about the count out that wasn't.
Exactly the smartest thing you've said all day.
That's the most
Because
overdone
especially
thing in
'cause it's
wrestling.
always... It's not the most overdone thing, but it is very overdone. But like, yeah, it's always so obvious. Like, it never gets me. Yeah, he's gonna pick him up for another one. One, two. Oh, fucking hell!
He's just going to give him a third one. If it isn't,
I do-
amazing. But I do think it's
No,
going
but
to get...
regardless of whether he gives him a third one and Spears loses, the fact that they've done that is enough to put Spears over from that, even if
Yeah.
Cody ends up winning anyway. And
No, I
because I
agree.
was like, oh yeah, we've seen him do two crossroads on someone before. Is he gonna? Don't make him tap out now, because that kind of negates it. He's gonna tap, isn't he?
His father won championships with this move right here.
Yes, he did.
Of course, coined by the made famous by the great Ric Flair. Look at this.
Oh. So that's an interesting one. I know that's been done before and all that, but it did shock me at the time, in the moment. Yeah, I think the way they, Bagu said, didn't see that coming. Yeah, I think that was good to have him kick out, put him in the submission, then pin him with it, because you can understand he's not expecting the fact that there's a pin, and in the moment you can. That's enough to protect Spears, whilst still giving Cody a legit win, you know, without having to have him scum it out.
I'm happy with it. It's all well and good. It's just it is coming to the point now where it's just like people are just gonna come up with these audacious ways of everyone like winning, but then losing in a good way. You know, it's just like
Yeah,
like, you know,
here it was
just,
really needed, I think.
No, it's like it's all well and good forever. I'm cool with it, but
yeah,
come to a point now where you'll just be like
Bagu said Flair used to get wins pinning people with the figure four back in the day. Yeah, I've seen a few clips of that, and that's the main place I've seen it. I have seen Charlotte do it as well. And yeah, like it has been done before, but when utilized right, anything's good, you know. What's this? Is this just starting this show again?
My history will not be my destiny. Famous words quoted by me.
This is the promo from the start again.
Would you stand in front of a train that was barreling down that track? Would you hop on that track and sit
Okay, there we go. That's Dynamite. Decent show.
That was Dynamite. Alright, let's look at these things that Bagu told me to look at. Right, let's see if I can get this up. Hang on. Bear with us.
Try and get it up. Whilst you figure that out, I'm just going to pop to the loo very quickly because I need the loo again. But yeah, then we'll do that and then we'll wrap it up. Be back in a sec.
Oh, where is... It said you messaged me somewhere. Messages? Ah. There we are.
He's going to try and choke slam him off the...
Let's bring these down just a little bit, shall we? WCW DDP hits the diving cut from the top. I haven't actually seen this.
Yo, it's me. It's me. It's DDP.
Leg that was injured very recently as well. Sick boy, very smart to go after that injured leg.
To the diamond cutter. The power bomb set up by Page.
I see what you mean. It's like I haven't really seen much of DDP, so it's completely foreign to me. But like you said, with the two hands, it just feels like he's actually pushing down the head into the mat just that little bit more to make the move a bit more convincing.
Out of the fireman's carry.
I mean, the cutter in general is just a great finisher because there's just multiple ways you can get both men into that position as well. It's just for counters and whatnot. It's just fantastic. Let's have a look at this one in particular because there's quite a few here.
You've got it up now.
Yeah, I got her up and ready. Just like I was just saying, like having the two hands, it does make the move just a bit more convincing.
Yeah. You can play. You're gonna put it full screen. There we go.
Oh god, you're that far behind me, jeez.
Well, yeah. No, I am. Well, I'm watching on the stream, obviously.
Yeah.
I do think it looks more convincing and real and stuff, but I don't think it's as good. Because a lot of the time it I don't know, it just looks more. It looks more set up, if anything. I don't know. I feel like Randy Orton has just perfected hitting it.
But like with Randy
So
Orton,
even though the pulling down of it helps.
Yeah, like I think you could probably make a case that DDP's is more devastating looking, but like because Randy's is so seamless, given that it is just the one arm for the most part. Like it does seem to come across more slick, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh.
And I feel like a lot of Randy's it's really well sold, whereas a lot of the guys DDP was up against weren't wanting to sell for it as much and stuff. So there's that as well. Like DDP was having to a lot of the time with people who weren't as willing to sell. But
yeah, I got this other video as well that he's put forward. It's only a small one, 5 seconds.
He's going to try and choke slam him off the top rope again. Get it done.
No, you can hear the crowd erupt.
yeah, as Bagu said, they're more athletic today, so they sell better. I do think that's part of it with Randy, particularly with guys like the Evan Bourne one, which is a classic, or guys like Ricochet selling for it. Always a lot better, whereas a Diamond Cutter and someone like fucking this is the one on Apple White.
No, Bagu, you bang on. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it wasn't. Nowadays, it's not about people on steroids and big boys everywhere now. It's
exactly.
And it's not like
It's not like it's Scott Hall who doesn't really want to sell a move for someone.
Yeah.
At least he didn't back then. Yeah. And so Randy as well, which is definitely part of it. I have always seen them as somewhat different moves, and I think it is the fact that, even though they're obviously not, is the fact I think that DDP always pulled it down, and it was always seemed more like he was in control. As Randy Orton, I feel like it's kind of like in boxing, when someone uses your own momentum against you, the punch is more devastating. Whereas when someone just knocks you out from their own power, it's actually more impressive, but it doesn't look as good. And I think that's part of what it is. Randy uses the selling and the momentum of the other guy more, whereas DDP, it was more him. And it's kind of like that. That's the best analogy I think I can do for it, is like a boxer using someone's momentum against them, compared to someone just knocking someone out on their own not benefit. What's the word I'm looking for? On their own account. I don't know. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's technically more impressive to do it without the other guy's momentum, but it always looks better with the other guy's momentum. I think that's just part of it. And like Bagu said, it is a lot to do with the selling. Because some of those Orton RKOs don't hit as good if the guy isn't selling it as much. So
it's just a general, though, isn't it, really? For most what's Twitter saying then?
Because I know that the result now from Gargano and Ciampa will be out, and I don't want to know the result from that. Bagu said, "But all right, guys, been fun. Have a good day?" ? I did have a good day. It was quite fun. Yeah. Think or middle of the night, whatever it is for you guys. It's 3 a.m. now for us. Take it easy. Always a pleasure. Talking finishes as well. And he said, yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah, I think you have raised a good point there, though. Definitely the selling definitely helps Orton, I think. But yeah, have a good night. And I think we'll wrap it up here, will we, Kieran?
Yeah, we're wrapping it up. Take care, Bagu. Oh, there we are. That spoiled it for me, but that's fine.
There we go. I'm not going to watch the stream anymore because you've got it up on there.
Oh, it is what it is. Right. Take care, guys. Yeah, take care, Gareth. I don't know what I'm chatting to
Tomorrow
next.
with some kind of review of the two shows.
Yeah, we'll recap both
presumably.
shows. Yeah, let's do that. All right, man.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Take
we'll
care.
see you all soon.